we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. Welcome back to the new studio. As you can see, got a couple of things on the wall up here. We're starting to fill things in the shelves a little bit too. Thanks again for joining us here. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you ever wanted to reach out to the podcast, let us know how you feel about, certain topic, or, if you wanted us to talk about something that you want to hear. I always love to hear ideas. And even if you want to come on as a guest too, that'd be great to have you on and joining us in the studio, in the new studio. And we'll have a little fun. It's always like, I usually say half of the buddies and friends that come on here are just that, and they're friends and stuff. But, I always like to get some new people on. Really excited now that the studio is a little bit more in order now. Might get some more guests on. So that's going to be really exciting. And, you're already here. You're already doing the best you can, whether you're watching or listening. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, or if you're just listening wherever you're listening to your podcast, thank you for being here. It's the best way you could possibly support the podcast is by being here and doing what you're doing. If you want to engage with us and, like the posts and make a comment and do all that fun stuff, that's even better. If you want to go that extra mile, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thebigmarkpod. There's a couple different ways you can support us there too and keep the lights on, so to speak. So again, still kind of getting used to everything, but I think we need something right here, it looks like, in the background, but just kind of getting settled in here. But this is an episode that maybe I might have never thought I'd ever do, to be truthfully honest. Just because, and what, I want to completely preface this, because again, this is the Bigmark podcast. We talk anything from sports to psychedelics. And I've always been the person that, like, I can't really knock something till I try it, till I experience it. Generally speaking, reality TV wasn't something that I necessarily sought out. I mean, I remember watching the early days of stuff, and there's all kinds of stuff that I was watching, back in high school and university that would be considered reality TV for sure. That was completely brain rot. And fuck, there's lots of shit that I'm involved with that I know is fucking goofy. Just pointing out a fucking Pokemon card over here. So don't get me wrong. Like, everyone has their own guilty pleasures, or pleasures nonetheless. They don't have to be guilty at all. I do remember as I think I was still in high school, maybe in university by this time, but watching my sister watch the Kardashians and being somewhat uptight about being like, these people are role models because they're on TV, and we're still living in that age where if you were on TV, you were, you were there for a reason. Let's just put it that way. And it was really tough, where I was like, these people aren't necessarily giving the best example to what you can be and what you can do, even though they're considered successful, quote unquote. Obviously they're rich. I mean, in that specific case, Robert Kardashian was a relatively high powered lawyer. And I think, Kris Kardashian, had money on her own in some ways too. And she's entrepreneurial as well. And all these great things. And obviously the kids did their things and Kim did her thing. But again, that's all these things where it's just like, it was always not something I necessarily, subscribed to too much. And, I've known people that have been really into it, and friends of all shapes and sizes, and partners and stuff that were also very interested, and they never really pushed on me, which I totally understand. And I never really sought out. I never said anything against it. It just wasn't necessarily my bag. And I also know it's also great to just kind of have on in the background. And it's not necessarily something where you're taking in life advice from some of these people per se. And, I always thought maybe it glorified some of these lifestyles. And, what we're going to go in today is pretty heavy duty ultimately, because I think, again, really why reality TV has lasted as long as it does is because it kind of works on many facets of life, in the sense of, it's something where you can kind of like look to And it is like, oh man, even these like hot, sexy people have fucked up lives too. Like it's my life isn't looking too bad, even though whatever, or, I like, these people are just having a wild time and I just love the drama and I just love kind of sitting there, so there's like a million different, that kind of Schadenfreude kind of thing where you're taking pleasure in other people's pain. And again, I kind of always saw these in some ways as negatives, but it wasn't necessarily that, and when Kate, my girlfriend right now, she when she just showed me like, right, like I want to say, a few nights ago, maybe was the first time I actually sat down and did it, but like just recently, she just showed me some of these shows that she watches, and one of the shows that she watches is Summer House, and happens to be having this big reunion right now. And it sounds like the show's been on for 10 years. Again, I did look into this, did some background research on all this stuff, and I was quite interested, and it was really interesting on how the feelings and you do relate to it. And I know the show's edited it in a certain way, but the thing with the reunion is it's just a panel of people talking. It's not necessarily, I don't think, how the show actually goes either, but I got to learn about all kinds of happenings, and it was really intriguing. And again, I thought like, hey, this is something where, again, I don't want to shut anything out in life as far as experience. If I get to try to experience something and then it is really interesting, I want to share it with y'all. And again, something about Summer House on the surface is it's just generally about beautiful people partying in the Hamptons. But underneath that, there's so much more, right? There's friendship, and there's, the watching a friendship group age in real life, in with over 10 seasons. That's a long time. I mean, I guess that's about, I don't know how long a shooting season is. I don't know if it's actually they've known each other for 10 years, but let's just say they have. People have gotten married and separated within that time. We've watched, people have watched relationships cracking under the pressure. And, with this reunion especially, we're starting to see people's choices and the consequences of those choices. So again, like I said, if anyone's never watched this, and I don't really know much, this is what I kind of like learned about Summer House. It's a Bravo reality show. So there's all these Bravo shows, and it's built around a group of New York friends who spend weekends together in the Hamptons. They have a share house up there. And essentially what started as a party show has slowly become a show about adulthood. Again, breakups, marriages, career, sobriety, parenthood, friendship, loyalty, and people outgrowing roles that they were cast in, right? These sometimes, especially on a party show, these people come in as wild people just having good times, loving life, and wanting to monetize that in a way, which is great. These people cash in big time. Like, that's great. Hopefully, that's what I mean. Like, I just pray that these people don't fuck their lives up just for the bit. You know what I mean? Like, the Jersey Shore motherfuckers, like, were they always those raging Guidos, or did they become that because of the show? So, I don't know. And obviously the reunion itself is where the casts come back months later to revisit what had happened, confront each other, and usually reveal the emotional truth underneath the edited season. Because again, you can't, they can only show you so much within the show itself. They want to edit it. They want to have things keep going. They need flow. They need continuity. They need all this shit happening. And if they're unable to do that right away, there's not enough time for exposition or whatever, or they can't explain it, then they have to wait till they get everyone in front of it, right? So the genius essentially of Summer House is that it does sell itself as a vacation show, but it's actually a pressure test. It puts friends in a beautiful house, add alcohol, history, attraction, ego, and cameras, and eventually people show you who they really are. Now, there's a few people involved here. I'll kind of go through the cast. These are kind of all the people that are involved right now that are going to be in the reunion. I don't know. I'm going to have to, it's hard to actually talk about the show itself. So again, this is about the reunion mostly. but I'll talk about the main players here. And I guess spoiler alert of anyone who's never watched Summer House. I doubt if you're here watching and still listening, you've never watched Summer House. But the first few people that I'm going to mention here, Amanda, Kyle, and West, are involved in a fucking crazy love triangle. There's cheating, there's craziness, there's separations, there's marriages, there's all this kind of messy shit going on. And during the show, no one knew that this was happening. I don't even know. I'm assuming we as audience members might have known somehow, but the cast members of the show didn't know to what extent or what was happening or what was going on, as far as I can tell. Now, Amanda, she has long been known as Kyle's wife, an emotional counterweight. Her story has often centered around her marriage, but her identity has centered around her marriage, her identity inside that marriage, and whether she feels seen as her own person. In this reunion, she becomes central because of her separation from Kyle and her controversial connection with Wes. Again, that controversy being a fucking affair. So it goes deep. So it sounds like Amanda and Kyle met on the show. They got married, and then now they're breaking up on the show too. And it's essentially because of this Wes guy. It's hard to say. The homewrecker, stereotype or whatever, I guess can essentially apply here, but people make their own choices, and Amanda chose to do this. And again, it sounds like Kyle wasn't necessarily the best partner during their marriage too. I haven't necessarily seen proof one way or the other, but it sounds like he was potentially unfaithful in the marriage as well. Who knows? Maybe that was something that they talked about. Maybe that was something that was part of the fucking show. I don't think so. Unless it's very explicit, that's rarely the case. Kyle is one of the original anchors of the show. He's been known to be loud, emotional. He's an entrepreneurial kind of guy, but funny and often chaotic. But he's grown up on camera, and he still reacts intensely when he feels betrayed or cornered. His marriage to Amanda has been one of the show's longest running emotional storylines. Obviously, again, marriage, breakup. He's the guy, and the other guy, being West, came in with this charm, humor, and fun guy energy. But again, this reunion itself puts that charm under a microscope. The central question becomes whether he is misunderstood, avoidant, manipulative, or simply someone whose casual approach to relationships finally caught up with him, which is kind of fucked up, and maybe that's the case. Sierra, another cast member, is thoughtful, guarded, and often more emotionally measured than the chaos around her. Her hurt in the reunion is not just about romance, but about friendship, loyalty, and feeling like her pain was minimized. And she was very, very close with Amanda. I believe was with West as well. I think West probably cheated on her with Amanda, or at least once they broke up, Amanda stepped in. Again, hopefully the comments are lighting up, but people might be yelling. She's betrayed because she was there for Amanda heavy duty and all this stuff, and telling her that she was the best, and that she just was being a very, very good friend. And Amanda broke her trust as well. Lindsay, another cast member, longtime cast member, has been known for being direct, intense, and emotionally unfiltered. In this reunion, she plays more of an observer commentator role, especially around Amanda's choices and the fallout. We got Carl. Carl's history with the group includes addiction recovery, career changes, and his broken engagement with Lindsay. So it is a tangled web. It is truly a tangled web. But by this reunion, his role is less explosive than in previous seasons, but his repair dynamic with Lindsay gives the episode a rare note of maturity. Jesse's another cast member. Jesse brings newer cast energy, lighter, flirtier, and more comedic, but still emotionally involved in the group dynamics. He helps represent the newer generation of the show, trying to find their place among heavy veteran history. And Jesse's like super emotional in the reunion, at least the episode that I've seen. I believe that there's another episode at the time of this episode's filming of the Bigmark podcast. I believe there's another episode, a bonus episode of the reunion coming out, but he's super shook because he kind of went through the exact same thing where a friend of his, I think, slept with an ex, and bad news bears. And then rounding out the cast, you got Dara, Mia, KJ, Bailey, Levi, and Ben. The newer cast members help widen the world of the show. But the reunion gravity is mostly pulled towards the veterans, Amanda, Wes, Sierra, Kyle, Fallout, of course. So again, there's something about it where, reality TV reunions in general are never just about, who said what. They're about what happens when people are forced to sit in the consequences of who they've been, especially on this show where there's edits happening and stuff. And now it's time to actually explain what the fuck was really happening. Again, obviously all this stuff happening in public is really, really heavy. All these people having to deal with all this stuff is just, absolutely brutal. But again, it's not this thing where, like I always say in sports, and we try to relate things back here on the Bigmark podcast. Here I got my Syracuse shirt on. In sports, film doesn't lie. In relationships, reunions are the film room. Everyone sees the missed assignments. And this doesn't always happen. People don't always get a chance to kind of fucking lay things out on the table with Andy Cohen asking questions. It is a post-mortem. It is brutal. But you can actually potentially grow from something like this. But as I'll go on here, I'll say, hey, you'll be the judge by the time I lay everything on the table here. So again, the Amanda and Wes situation is obviously messy because, again, it sits at this intersection of heartbreak, attention, secrecy, and timing. Everything all at once. Now, obviously, of course, Amanda's separation from Kyle did create an emotional vacuum. I'm not 100% sure on how much of this infidelity was happening while they were still together, but still, the separation happened, and then that brought West and Amanda together. West allegedly at least gave her attention at this vulnerable time, and Amanda later expressed great regret and questioned whether the relationship was romance or a part of just rediscovering herself and just kind of getting out there, which is understandable, again, when you're separating with someone. But fuck, man, like, there's a lot of people, especially in New York City, why are you fucking hooking up with someone on a show that you're on, that you're obviously going to get booked? Super weird. West's version of events became a major source of tension, and Amanda pushing back on claims that she pursued him. So West actually did say that Amanda came at him. But again, he's supposed to be a friend of these guys. They all partied together, had a good time. They're supposed to have this friendship. But again, it's kind of these things where, yeah, there's a tension. Yeah, there's talks and stuff. But like, why does it have to go further than that? Why does it, people need to talk to each other because they know each other. Hey, I understand it. It's tough. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a vulnerable thing to do. But it's potentially possible. Can something feel healing and still be harmful at the same time? Potentially. I mean, again, if you are just trying to rediscover yourself, especially sexually, and you got fucking sex with someone, yeah, you might feel a little bit better, but there's consequences to doing that, of course. Whether you're still with someone or not, there's still, again, there's people. And yes, actions obviously speak louder than words, but like, when it comes to that kind of thing, it really matters, like, who you're with and who you're doing with at the same time. So like, don't fuck your friend's exes, at least, just put it that way. But it sounded like Amanda was kind of coming from a place where, she didn't really know potentially what she was doing, and she was just trying to find herself. But again, that's, we're still adults. We still make our own decisions, right? Obviously, Sierra and the friendship betrayal is huge. This isn't just romantic drama. This is, true damage to a friendship. A friendship that looked like it was that it blossomed over the time period of the show. Again, completely coming from an outside perspective. But again, Sierra's hurt seemed to come from somewhere where it was almost like she felt emotionally looked over, emotionally bypassed. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the reunion itself didn't even really fully unpack all the deeper friendship dynamics that, you know, some critics felt were central to the conflict. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe backgrounds have something to do with it too, but it's at the same time, it's like, you know, there's so much more you can't even go. Who knows? Maybe that's what we're going to go over in that bonus episode. And, you know, what do we owe our friends when we make choices that affect them, right? You know, we obviously, I think you owe them some type of explanation, maybe some heads up. Maybe people don't always need your permission, but, you know, if you fucking suggest something to someone and say, hey, like, you know, I'm thinking about doing this, and they go, I don't know how I feel about that, you know, maybe, yeah, they can't stop you, but maybe they're feeling that way could be something to give you pause for thought, at least. I think ultimately where I saw Amanda coming from too when she was speaking with Sierra in those brief moments, because there wasn't many in the reunion that I saw. I think ultimately there's a difference between asking someone to forgive you and asking them to make your guilt more comfortable. And I think it seemed like both Amanda and West seemed to be just trying to make their guilt more comfortable. They also looked like they were on fucking ludes or something. Like they were on some type of fucking, you know, tranquilizer, or like, you know, little bar shaped tablet type fucking pill. Because they weren't fucking, you know, beta blockers or some shit. And I think Wes actually, you know, I'm pretty sure Andy Cohen straight up confronted them, was like, are you on fucking pills? Because this is fucked. And I'm pretty sure he was on, he admittedly said he was on beta blockers, but it was like, I don't actually, like, you know, yeah, I'm on beta blockers right now, but like, I'm just trying to like hold it together. And like, he didn't actually say this, but said it without saying it. Like, I don't understand why no one else is holding their fucking shit together. Like, Jesse's crying. Like, guys that are fucking twice removed from this shit are crying and like are like, what the fuck? So that's super interesting. But again, it seemed like they were just trying to ease their own guilt because they're busted and like in complete public, right? Now, did Amanda center her own shame more than Sierra's pain? For sure. Did the group protect the loudest emotions instead of the deepest wound? Maybe. That's easy to do, especially in a group. And, you know, what does repair actually look like when trust is broken publicly? Who knows, man? Who knows? This is heavy, heavy, heavy shit. Now, like I said, Carl and Kyle and Lindsay and the older friend group, these are all people who've been around. Like I said, it showed who's grown. It showed how far these people have come. Again, not me coming from an outside perspective, you know, over 10 years, it's going to expose whether you have changed truly. And, you know, seems like overall, the brief moments that I saw, Carl and Lindsay appeared to make some progress in mending their friendship. And Kyle was still emotionally central because Amanda's choices affected him directly, obviously, of course. And again, you know, I don't know. It sounds like maybe there was some bad parts, and I don't know, that's something that gave me pause too, is like, you know, obviously Kyle's hurt by all this and all fucked up in many different ways and doesn't know up from down, probably because of all the stuff with people betraying his own trust. But if he was unfaithful too in his relationships, do you almost go like, you know, no one deserves this, truly no one deserves this, because I've been involved in that. I've had partners cheat, and I know, and I've confirmed it, and it's awful, and it's one of the worst things that I could ever imagine happening to somebody. And it's brutal. And when people do it with malice, it is unforgivable. And again, I'm lost, these excuses of I couldn't control, people make their own decisions. And a lot of times it's probably a lot easier than breaking up with someone, but it's not worth it. But when it happens, you know, it happens. And whether it happens to you or not, you know, you still feel it. So I still feel for the guy, but you know, it's really interesting. It's just thinking, cause I don't know. I just don't know, because I don't know the history as well. But it sounds like, this hurts obviously much more when you know someone, I don't know. If it's some random that has nothing to do with anyone and it's a one night stand, I don't know. Maybe that's more forgivable. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's worse. Fuck. It's brutal. It's brutal. But again, no one deserves this. And Amanda was just fucking stone cold. Didn't give a fuck. Like, she was on pills heavy. It was really weird. And, it didn't really seem like there was much healing or it didn't really seem like it was really going anywhere when it came to finishing up where things were. They were saying sorry, I guess, really, but they're all pilled out and didn't know what the fuck. I mean, Amanda and Wes, that is. But so strange. Then there's cutaway scenes where they go to commercial or some shit and Kyle and Amanda are hugging, and it's so messy. Again, like I said, you see these people, you have to, over 10 years, you must see these people mature. And it's not always, maturity isn't always about being calm, but it's at least about being honest without needing to destroy somebody to prove that you were hurt. And I think that the other people try to do that, Lindsay and the other cast members. I think they tried their best and to kind of keep things going. And, ultimately, Wes became the symbol of a specific reality TV archetype, the charming, evasive, and allergic to full accountability type. Sounds like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like he's all that remorseful. Obviously, the timelines are questionable. Wes' relationships are weird, and other claims around commitment sound like they're a little bit dodgy. Dara reportedly delivered some hard truths. I mean, she did, like, straight up. That was what it was, and that's what Wes needed to hear. It wasn't reportedly. The fuck what happened. But I don't know if he was hearing it, man. And I don't know. It's dicey, man. This charm thing and this, flirtiness and people-pleasing shit, it sometimes gets dicey because these are the people that can cheat because they just don't want to upset anyone. They don't want to say no. They ride that line. They push. People who are partying and always out with people and, maybe inhibitions are down. Those lines become blurred. And sometimes it turns out nothing gives a fuck. And who knows, maybe there's so many exploits and you're just looking for something exciting. Banging your buddy's ex is fucking exciting. So that's what you go for. And that's what's not fucking cool. Charisma can get you in the room. There's no doubt about that. But character decides whether people still respect you when the room gets quiet. And it's hard to respect this West Cat after all this. Now, I think there's three major takeaways when it comes to what this reunion teaches us, at least beyond the Bravo verse. Timing matters. Even if feelings are real, the context can still make the choice damaging. Number 2, accountability is non-monologue. It requires letting the other person's pain exist without rushing to your defense. And 3, being liked is not the same as being trustworthy. Reality TV rewards likability. Real life requires repair. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, the reunion wasn't really about who won. Is there really a winner at the end of all this? It doesn't seem like it. But it's about who can sit in discomfort without trying to escape themselves. And I think that's what was going on. Like I said, Amanda and Wes just trying to get through it. I think that they just were like, we can just get through this. Meanwhile, this whole reunion is supposed to be like, what the fuck actually happened? And maybe if they were actually honest with themselves, there could be room for healing, reconciliation, potentially. These people are grown people as well. But again, maturity maybe has nothing to do with it. When you're hurt, right? I want to hear about what y'all think, though. Do you think, anyone was misunderstood? Do you think Sierra was owed more, needed more time, needed more? Maybe, again, we'll look at this bonus episode. Is Wes the villain, or just someone who got exposed under these bright lights? Is it Amanda? Is it who? I don't know. Is it Andy Cohen? No, he's cool. Is it Anderson Cooper? No, he's cool too. But again, you know, it's one of these things that if you know more about the show, let me know, because I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to learn. But just this reunion alone, it sticks with you. It's something that you fucking think about later, and you're like, man, what the fuck? How can you do this to these people? How can you be fucking so stupid in so many different ways, let alone when it's on national television? Who knows? Anyway, we'll get back to you on Summer House in the City or whatever's going on next. Hopefully it's better than Winter House. Inside joke there. I don't even know. Stay with me, y'all. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Love y'all. See you soon. Peace.